Of course, we're smack dab in the middle of football season. We've got a game this Saturday, but it's always time to talk a little recruiting. And now it's time to talk a little basketball as the SEC Media Days just happened.
Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama. Luke Robinson, that's me. Jimmy Stein, that's him. Jimmy, how are you today?
Good. A little chilly in Tuscaloosa today. Old man winter has arrived.
Yeah, he has, and it feels like this Saturday should be great weather, it looks like, for the big game with Mississippi State, so that's always something fun to talk about. But let's start with a little recruiting talk. Cormani McClain is going to announce, today's the 19th, so a week from tomorrow, the number one rated defensive back in the country. Some people think he's the number 2 or number 3 player in the country. But I don't think it bodes very well for Alabama necessarily that he's going to commit this early. I think it all signs point to Florida, unfortunately, right?
Yeah, I'm not particularly optimistic at this point. You know, with Cormani, I've sort of went from, hey, this won't happen to, hey, this could happen to, hey, I really think this could happen to, I'm not so sure. And now I'm at a no. And, you know, it's a little disappointing just simply because he's obviously a really good prospect. He's obviously a guy Alabama targeted and recruited very hard. You know, things have changed so much with recruiting, and I'll get to NIL in a second because that's what's changed recruiting the most by far. I mean, that's like, you know, it's gone from horse and buggy to race cars. Change NIL is, but you know, the Saban era has changed recruiting so much. You know, at Alabama, it's kind of funny to me that our fans now expect to sign the number 1 cornerback in Florida who can go to Miami, Florida, or Florida State. You know, in the 70s and 80s and 90s, this wouldn't have even been a dream, really. I mean, it wouldn't have even been a dream. It'd be like, because kids usually just sort of stayed home and went to the best program closest to them. And just the idea that you would sign the number 1 cornerback in the country or even the number 1 cornerback in Florida was a pipe dream during the early years that I covered or followed Alabama football recruiting. And then the Saban era happens, and now it's like, okay, who's the number 1 corner in the country? Oh, a guy named Cormani McClain from Florida. Oh, well, we'll probably get him. That's how it's changed. But now we've got an even bigger change, and that's NIL. And I'm not saying anything. I'm not alleging. I don't know what offers this kid has NIL-wise. I don't know. I just know this. NIL was a massive factor. No doubt. And we're not going to sign every kid we want because of NIL. We will sign many kids we do want because of NIL. Alabama fans just have to get used to this. And I can tell from the reaction on message boards that they're not used to it yet. They think Alabama has, you know, I read one guy who's, what did Alabama do to fumble this, as if it's Alabama's God-given right to sign the number 1 cornerback in the country every year, regardless of where he's from. No, this is NIL as a major factor. I am quite certain I say that. And again, I've been saying this for months, and I'm right. Look where Alabama is in recruiting right now. Number 1, in a positive for Alabama. Alabama is one of the haves, not the have-nots. And when it comes to a lot of kids in NIL, Alabama is going to be a good fit for them, but not every kid. So I'm disappointed, but I'm not surprised, I guess is the best way to put it. I'm never going to be surprised again, Luke, in the NIL era when Alabama doesn't get this kid or that kid. I mean, I'm just not going to be surprised. And I mean, it's just, you know, let's say if NIL was Major League Baseball free agency, Alabama's the Yankees or the Dodgers, you know? But do the Yankees or the Dodgers get every guy they target in free agency? No, they don't. So here we are.
Yeah, and look, I know it feels like sort of fake salvo, but we are getting Caleb Downs, and he's pretty awesome. And I mean, they're not necessarily the same position, but I mean, I think that, I mean, look, if you ask me which one would I rather have, first of all, I'd probably say I'd love to take either one of them, but I really love what I see out of Caleb Downs just because it seems like you can put him anywhere on the field. Cormani McClain may be the same guy. I don't know. I personally never bought into the fact that Alabama would be getting him as well. So I'm not quite as disappointed as some other folks. But yeah, I mean, it's not over. I mean, I guess stranger things have happened. But I think at this point, the consensus is Alabama is not going to be the choice for Cormani McClain. And again, that's okay. Still the number one class, still a lot of positive things. Meanwhile, Justice Haynes will be visiting Georgia coming up this weekend, I think it is. And, you know, okay, but and a lot of people are worried about that, but he has made it very clear he's going to stick to his Alabama commitment, and I think he is. He is a 5-star now on just about every service, either the number 1 or number 2 running back in the country by most services. So, yeah, very excited about him. I think every now and again we focus so much more on the losses. It's really the way we look at football in general. We dwell on the losses much more than we revel in the wins. And it's probably because we win so much on the field and in recruiting that the losses stick out so much. I'll tell you, Jimmy, this victory that Tennessee got this weekend, and God bless them. I mean, hey, you won the game. I mean, kudos. I don't know what else to tell you. I know it feels like every Alabama fan is whining about the officials. I understand that. But I'm also going to say Tennessee was better. Tennessee was better that day, and they did a lot of things right, and they're a very good team, and Hendon Hooker should be right there in the Heisman hunt and all that stuff. I think Tennessee's really, really good. But, you know, Tennessee is getting a lot of mileage out of this victory, man. I mean, Twitter is – my Twitter feed is all orange. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, like every meme is about Saban or Tennessee wins or goalpost in the Tennessee River. And again – kudos to them. And one of their guys actually had a tweet that's very true. Now, there's a positive and negative to it, but his tweet was it showed the crowd on the field after the game. And he said, you know, Alabama's got the greatest coach ever. They're in the middle of the greatest dynasty ever. They have all these national championships. They have everything, but they'll never have this moment. And my response to him was, look, I will take winning 15 out of 16 against y'all and winning all these championships over one good day. You know, there's no question in my mind. But I will say this, that he's right in a sense. We're never going to have that. I mean,
we're never going to lose 15 years. We're never going to lose 15 years in a row to one team. Correct.
And I don't want to have that. But my point is, that's by nature. That's what we do. We dwell on the losses more than we revel in the wins. That's what we do. And that's going to be the same in recruiting. And so I'm going to implore everybody to really celebrate a Caleb Downs or a Justice Haynes instead of lamenting the loss of a Cormani McClain. Jimmy, this episode, by the way, is brought to you by Bet Online. I don't think I said that earlier, and I'm going to tell everybody about Bet Online in just a little bit. But right now, I need to tell everybody about Sweat Block. I talked about it yesterday. This is a real review from a real person. I won't reveal last names, but his name was Chris. He suffered from excessive underarm sweat for 10 years. He was so worried about sweating through his dress shirts that he was using maxi pads as padding to absorb the sweat. That's crazy. Nobody should have to go through that. And here's the thing. You can't control it. It just is. It's the way you're wired. So you might need a product, and that product is Sweat Block. It's the way it's going to save you. Look, Sweat Block was created by a doctor to help his own excessive sweating. So this doctor had an excessive sweating problem, and he creates this product to help himself out, and then he begins to sell it. And this doctor created and doctor recommended, if you or someone you love is experiencing embarrassing sweat or odor, try Sweat Block. Save 20% with promo code LOCKEDON at sweatblock.com. That's sweatblock.com. Use promo code LOCKEDON. It's available at Amazon as well. But if you want to save that 20%, go to sweatblock.com. Use promo code LOCKEDON, sweatblock.com. I promise you'll love this product. All right, Jimmy, let's talk a little bit about basketball, sort of break up the monotony. I want to talk some Alabama, Mississippi All-Star selections on the back end. But SEC Media Days just happened, and it gets about as much fanfare as the Lake Martin area Comic Con. It's so funny. I mean, SEC basketball has been pretty good. And I'm talking, if you aren't a true basketball fan, you don't know that SEC Media Days was going on. You just don't know it. You got to search for news about SEC basketball. That being said, Alabama was predicted to finish fifth behind Kentucky and Arkansas and Tennessee and Auburn. And I can buy that. I can certainly buy that. Again, I think Alabama has a chance to be better. I don't think there's any doubt about that. The first team All-SEC team is made up of a lot of guys who I think are going to make that team. It's Nick Smith Jr., who a lot of people think will be the freshman of the year. I'm going to put my money on Brandon Miller, and we'll get to him in a second. But Nick Smith Jr. is a guy Alabama thought they had a really good shot at from Arkansas. He ends up committing to Arkansas, and sometimes you just roll the dice and lose. Colin Castleton from Florida is also on that team. Very good player. Sort of surprisingly came back for another year. Oscar Shibwe, returning National Player of the Year. Yeah, good dude. Severe Wheeler, transfer from Georgia, now at Kentucky, and was at Kentucky last year.
Did you think he was going to be that good?
No, I'm going to tell you something. That's probably the one I take exception with, and we'll get to it.
No, what I mean is when Severe Wheeler was at Georgia and was a good player, and then he transferred to Kentucky, I've been sort of stunned at how good he is. Like, I thought he was a good player at Georgia. I didn't know he was this good. I guess you don't really know till you surround him with dudes.
Well, and again, I'm not saying he's not good. I'm just saying, is he first team All-SEC over,
right?
Some of these other dudes? I don't know. Maybe he is because nobody's necessarily coming to mind. Maybe he is, but I think Kentucky in basketball gets sort of the benefit of the doubt as Alabama does in football when it comes to All-SEC predictions. So, okay. Santiago Vescovi from Tennessee is going to be wrap that up. Now, second team All-SEC, this is where it gets interesting. Javon Quinterly makes the team, even though he probably won't even start out playing until, sometime in December at best.
That sort of gets me. That sort of makes me mad.
Yeah.
Maybe I haven't heard the latest medically on Quinterly. Maybe that should change. I'm just saying I guess I just focus on November in terms of Quinterly. He's not even dressed out in November, and probably not December. Not even dressing out.
It's silly. But these preseason lists I'm not fine with Athlons or Street and Smiths, if that's still a thing, or ESPN having a preseason All-SEC team. Why does the SEC need to have an All-SEC team preseason? It's sort of silly. Because all they can do is look stupid.
I wish they'd call it something else. Players to watch, or this guy's good.
That's dumb. Look, hang on.
All SEC, it should be a postseason thing.
Yeah, but I hate what I hate? When they have the Davey O'Brien watch list. I'm like, why isn't everybody on it? It makes no sense to have one at the beginning of the season because a gazillion things could happen. So why have one? Just say every quarterback is on the Davey O'Brien watch list. I think it'd be better and more efficient if they said, here's the quarterbacks we're not watching. We're not watching the Iowa quarterback, whoever the hell that is.
I say it every time. If you don't have to be on the list to win the award, then why are you putting out the list?
Yeah.
And it's just proof of so these are the only guys you're watching? Another dude won your award and you said you weren't even watching him.
But as I said, Alabama predicted to finish fifth. It goes Kentucky, Arkansas, Tennessee, Auburn, Bama, A&M. I think that's an interesting. Obviously A&M flying pretty high after they finished the season so strong last year. Then Florida. Look, I could see this Florida team doing a little more too. LSU. I don't know first of all, how do you even rank LSU at this point anywhere from first to last? They have got a whole new ball club. Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Missouri, Vandy, Georgia, and South Carolina. What's interesting about South Carolina to me is they signed the number one player in the country, according to some rankings. So, I think his name's – is it Gigi? What's his name? Gigi something. Anywho, doesn't matter. He's good.
What here's good. Here's something good though. I mean, let's say this ends up accurate, and we all know it won't be, but if it ends up accurate, the fifth best team in the SEC makes the NCAA tournament almost every year. Not every year, but almost every single year. The fifth best team in the SEC makes the NCAA tournament. So to me, this is the SEC media basically saying, "Hey, we think Alabama's an NCAA tournament team." So that should be, I think, man, if we make the NCAA tournament for the third year in a row. It's hard to argue Nate's not doing a really good job, just simply making the tournament. We have to remember how long we went without making the tournament or making it, once every 10 years or whatever. But 3 years in a row would be really good, particularly with having such a new roster. But, Quinterly, I mean, the way I look at I look at the point guard as, Alabama's point guards are Mark Sears and Bradley. And if Quinterly makes it back, great. I mean, I guess I just in my head I just look at Quinterly like gravy and not a huge factor for Alabama.
Jimmy, let me tell everybody about Bet Online. You love Bet Online. I love Bet Online. We all love Bet Online. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your football betting info this year. Find all the latest player developments, team matchups, news, podcasts, and in-depth articles and analysis on every game out there. And as always, BetOnline remains your continued source for all your sports wagering information with live betting and up-to-the-minute scores for every single sport there is. The fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite games, including MLB, NFL, college football, MMA, boxing, golf, whatever it is. Head to betonline.net today or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline is where the game starts. All right, one thing that I always love every year, Jimmy, is the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star Game. You and I have loved this game forever and ever. The greatest story ever to come out of the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star Game is Wallace Gilberry. And I'm not going to bore everybody with that story again, but most people who follow recruiting know it. But this year, of course, it's going to be in December again. It's going to be the 36th edition of the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star Game. And a lot of players from Alabama's roster has been announced now. And Alabama's got some dudes that are committed that are going to be on the team. They have some dudes from the Mississippi side, too, that will be on the team. And we can talk about them later, but I don't have that list in front of me. They're going to be coached by Keith Etheridge of Auburn High School, who is a very good coach. And so it's going to be a great experience for these guys to be coached up by Coach Etheridge. But now the Alabama players that are going to be in this contest are Jaleel Hurley, that's easy, Yanzi Pierre, Quiz McKeldry, Quiz McElderry. I always mess up his name. Hunter Osborne and Wilkin Formby. Now, there's some other dudes.
Who's the last guy?
Wilkin Formby.
Oh, okay. I just misheard that, and I'm like, do we have a commitment? I'm unaware.
Did we get a new commitment?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know the kids' names that are committed or being recruited. Okay.
Now, there's also James Smith will be there. Quay Russell will be at the game too. Now, both of those guys could end up as Alabama as well. Right. There'll also be Kelby Collins of Gardendale. By the way, Kelby Collins and Gardendale play Mountain Brook this weekend. That's going to be a really fun game for anybody who gets the NFHS network and can watch it. That's going to be a really fun game. There's some unbelievable high school. This week in college football is not great. I'm not trying to get off track, but in high school football in the state of Alabama, this week is bananas. Jeremiah Cobb and Montgomery Catholic take on Andalusia and Jamarian Burnett. Now, Cobb is committed to Auburn. He's the leading rusher in the state this year. He's close to the leading rusher. Very good player. But Jamarian Burnett at Andalusia is a thing too. And so anyway, but going back to the All-Star game, Alabama could have another great representation in this contest. It's one of my most favorite events of the year. And so I'm looking forward to it. And I love to see this list come out.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite events of the year too. Recruiting has changed so much. And like everybody else, you always think about the quote, good old days. And to me, it was almost more fun, this high school all-star game, when it's played, before signing day, like it is right now, before signing day. And then you can watch practices and watch the game and find a kid that you're like, now that he's competing against the best of the best, and you get a better evaluation because of who he's on the field with, competing against. It's fun to like, man, that kid is better than we thought. Let's go offer this guy. That's a scenario like that. But with recruiting like it is, and NIL, and how early you have to get on kids and your spots are already gone, it's just probably impossible for a school like Alabama to add, a kid that late in the process as a must-have. But what I do like, Luke, not necessarily for Alabama's sake, but some of these kids who are uncommitted or maybe not recruited as highly as they had hoped, this is one last opportunity for them to sort of make a splash before signing day and pick up some offers from their performance just in this high school all-star game. So that's pretty cool to me, if it's not necessarily an Alabama thing or University of Alabama thing. But I do like the high school all-star game. Again, it's a great evaluation tool. All of these variables that make it so hard to evaluate high school players are sort of removed when you put all the good ones on the field at the same place. It's a lot easier in practice and in the game when you're playing against the very best kids in Mississippi to just make a better evaluation about, how fast a kid is, how good a kid is, how physical a kid is. All the variables are removed. I mean, this is his peer group. These will be the kids going to the big colleges at the same time, all at the same time. So I like it. And a strong group that's committed to Alabama.
Yeah, and I'm so
thrilled.
thrilled
This year, by the way, for the first time in a long time, back in Mobile.
Yeah, I'm thrilled it's in Mobile too. I really enjoy this.
Of course, they move it back to Mobile at a time I'm probably going to be in Tuscaloosa. Of course they do.
But it's so much fun. The only problem with doing it in Mobile, just about every time I've been down there and called a game, the weather's been bad. Like, yeah. I know it wasn't bad the year AJ McCarron. I don't think it was bad that year, but the year I'm trying to remember, I think it was Corey Grant, who at the time ended up signing with Alabama and was committed to Alabama. Of course, he transferred out to Auburn eventually, but I remember he didn't have a great game, and part of it was because of the weather was just so bad. It's one of those things. But anyway, I'm excited about it. This is one of my favorite
December,
events.
January is not ideal weather time of Mobile. I mean, it's just it's often rainy in Mobile. Then throw in the cold.
All right, well, that's going to do it for today's podcast. Everybody,
I told a guy one time at the Senior Bowl, this true story. Well, the Senior Bowl in January in Mobile, and all these NFL people are here. And I used to, when I was a lawyer practicing downtown, I'm around all the Senior Bowl guys all the time. And one day was typical Mobile January. It was freaking 34 degrees and raining. And I'm in the coffee shop that's next to the Senior Bowl offices, next to the Senior Bowl headquarters where all the coaches are. And there was a scout from the Buffalo Bills in front of me in the coffee line. He turned around and said, "Good morning." And I said, "Welcome home." I mean, I just figured this must be like, because every day in Buffalo, he's like, "Yeah, I got on the plane. It was this. I landed in Mobile. It's this." I'm like,
I mean, yeah,
it is crazy how, yeah.
Alabama weather is cray-cray, y'all. Anywho, that's going to do it for today's podcast. Tomorrow, we'll be back with our predictions for the weekend. So looking forward to that, and looking forward to you subscribing. And thank you guys for making us your first listen, man. Our subscriber count is up over 2,500 now. That's amazing. We appreciate you guys so much. Hey, and even the guys that we've gotten some comments, both positive and negative, and most of it's constructive criticism when it's negative. And so we appreciate it. Y'all feel free to keep commenting, say whatever you like. If you appreciate the program, say so. If you like, hey, this is what you can do to improve. We know audio can improve. We know this. And we're trying to work on it. I think these last couple of days have been a lot better. When Jimmy is at his house, it's a ton better. And apparently he's on a cloud right now. He's actually in the cloud. So anyway, thank you guys a ton.
Broadcasting from an iCloud.
All right, roll tide, everybody.
Roll tide.